Let every breath be a prayer, and every moment a step toward the Holy One. Something has just been severed, chosen ones. God's influence is finally causing an old chain that has been around your fate for lifetimes to break. However, you must comprehend just what you have been battling against before we can rejoice in your freedom, and why the longest war ever fought against a single individual comes to a conclusion tonight. Because the relief you're experiencing now isn't coincidental. It's the result of a cosmic scheme that began long before you breathed your first breath in this lifetime and has been developing toward this moment. You have been selected. It's the actual thing, not the kind that's discussed in fantasy books or whispered about in mystical circles. A soul chosen by divine intelligence to fulfill a purpose so important that for generations, evil forces have been attempting to stop you from rising. Your attacks weren't the result of random bad luck or personal grudges. They were deliberate blows intended to prevent you from realizing the scope of your objective. What they didn't tell you is this. With the intensity of cosmic spectators watching the championship game of existence itself, the spiritual realm has been watching this conflict play out. Not only was your triumph significant, it was necessary for reasons that go much beyond your personal recovery. However, we are overly optimistic. We should begin at the beginning of this battle because knowing how it began will help you comprehend why you are the only one with the power to put an end to it. A discovery made by a member of your family generations ago altered the course of history. They revealed the truth about the spiritual heritage of your family, a lineage of strength, discernment, and divine favor that was destined to lead to you. However, rather being rejoicing at this discovery, they made a decision that would last for generations. They made the decision to take what was never theirs. Consider a holy baton being handed down across the centuries, until the spiritual talents reached their destined recipient. Each generation was supposed to strengthen and perfect them. However, envious hands eventually grabbed that torch and started channeling its energy into their own ships. They persuaded themselves that they were worthy of what was intended for you. Additionally, they constructed a whole energy collecting system around their theft. This was not magic thinking at amateur hour. These were complex spiritual tricks that needed understanding of soul contracts, ancestral patterns, and energy work. Over the course of several incarnations, they mapped out your vulnerabilities, pinpointed your triggers, and figured out just how to sap your energy without you noticing. They used your own ancestry as a means of attack. The seeds of their plan's demise, however, were planted here. They didn't realize who they were up against. You weren't picked at random to do this task. The reason you were chosen was because you had the spiritual DNA required to not only withstand their attacks, but also turn them into fuel for your own rise. In reality, every wound they caused you triggered latent powers. You learned to differentiate between parasite attachment and true love with each betrayal. Your anguish and the ongoing sensation of being stabbed in the emotional core of your being weren't just acts of cruelty. They knew that your task required an open, strong heart that is connected to divine love, so they particularly targeted your heart chakra. Church generosity is a lifestyle, not a one-time moment. If this message blessed you, would you hit super thanks and sow $20, $50, or more as you're able? Your support fuels outreach, translation, and daily encouragements. Scripture declares, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Proverbs 11 verse 25. We trust God with results. Our part is obedience and joy. I'm praying that as you refresh others, God refreshes you, spirit, mind, and resources. If you feel led, tap super thanks now and live the generous life with us. They were aware that they could keep you from realizing the full potential of your gifts if they could undermine your capacity for trust, love, and faith in real connection. Here's what they didn't expect, though. You had to learn discernment from each betrayal, something that regular souls never learn. You were being forged in the furnace of dishonesty, while others gained trust from favorable experiences. Recognizing the difference between skillful manipulation and genuine energy, They were unintentionally developing a spiritual detector so sensitive that you would never be duped again by any kind of parasite attachment or fake light. You sensed an invasion while stalking. It wasn't crazy to feel constantly watched, and forcefully invaded. They were continuously monitoring your energy field, and your hunch was right. To schedule their attacks for best effect, they had to research your tendencies, weaknesses, and periods of strength and vulnerability. You were really becoming more conscious of energetic boundaries as a result of this invasion of your spiritual privacy, to a degree that most people never achieve. However, they made a crucial error in judgment. They believed that enough suffering would shatter you, that enough seclusion would persuade you to turn away, and that sustained assaults would eventually weaken your bond with the divine. Your spiritual constitution was built in cosmic fires expressly to endure everything they might unleash against you, but they didn't take that into consideration. What they never realized was that your DNA contained the essence of ascended master consciousness, the spiritual leaders who came before you on this planet, those who were enlightened in spite of persecution, who remained connected to God in spite of assaults, and who turned sorrow into knowledge. Your cellular structure encodes their energy signature. This is not a struggle you are fighting alone. An entire lineage of awakened beings is channeling you. They have experienced what you're going through and know exactly what you're going through. Every restless night, when your energy field felt like it was being pressed by unseen forces, their influence poisoned every relationship. They obstructed every possibility by interfering. It was all unintentionally preparing you to be the spiritual warrior you were destined to be. They were in the process of making their own enemy, one well-timed assault at a time. With compound interest, the obsessions and compulsions that fueled their actions are now coming back to haunt them. Like a rubber band stretched past its breaking point, the energy they have been taking from you is returning to its rightful owner. And they're going to learn that the universe itself turns into your collection agency when you steal from someone who has been selected by divine wisdom. The time when cosmic law finally steps in to help you is tonight. You finished the most rigorous spiritual training program ever created, not because you pleaded for help or because you couldn't bear the strain. You have unequivocally demonstrated that you are worthy of the authority that was always intended for you. You have been put through a trial by fire to earn your protection. Everything they attempted to use to clip the wings has strengthened them, and now the elegant, exquisite creature who has been injured for so long is ready to spread them. It won't only be recovery on your flight. Every force in the spiritual realm will be informed that a new player has joined the game by a display of power. The way their animosity has been turned into your greatest strength, however, is the most exquisite irony in the entire story. Divine alchemy has transformed every ounce of energy they put into attempting to kill you into fuel for your ascent. In fact, their fixation with keeping you from succeeding has sped up your growth more than any other method could have. The members of the family who took part in this generational plot are going to discover the distinction between genuine spiritual authority and borrowed power. Their energy systems were never designed to use the skills they've been draining from you, and the cosmic response they're about to receive will make it abundantly evident that some forces are earned rather than stolen. That feeling of inner strength that cannot be diminished by outside circumstances. That isn't a return of confidence. That's the moment when your actual essence may finally be expressed unhindered. They have spent ages trying to break the link to the Holy Source, and now it is functioning at full power. Yellow heart if you're moved by divine love. Now is the moment to share it. Click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contribute $50 or more to help us broadcast God's blessings far and wide. Every act of generosity you make is being watched in heaven and will return to you 100-fold. And when nothing is obstructing your signal, you're going to find out what you're truly capable of. The spiritual world has been lining up opportunities, people, and situations around your emergence in anticipation of this time. The safeguards that have been put in place around you are not short-term help. Your spiritual operating system has been permanently upgraded. You're being protected from more than just attacks. Any power acting contrary to divine will is establishing you as untouchable. Their efforts to keep you struggling will appear pitifully insufficient, as your financial circumstances are about to reflect this energetic transition. You are going to experience the riches that was always intended to pour through you, not because money is the main goal, but rather because resources are necessary for your task, because the universe doesn't send its chosen ones into combat without the right gear. When they see that they are losing control, they could try one last desperate tactic, a fake reconciliation. Keep an eye out for the family member who abruptly reaches out with seeming regret, making fake apologies, or offering a conditional reconciliation. It's likely that this individual is going through financial issues, a direct consequence of their energetic theft's karmic repercussions. Unaware that their attempt to sway your sympathy is the exact indication you need that their apologies is wholly untrue, they may even seek to use guilt to get you to give them money. Here's your power move, though. You will be able to tell their performance right away. Before they've even finished speaking, your freshly adjusted spiritual radar will pick up on the deception they're trying to convey. You can now distinguish genuine regret from deliberate manipulation with laser-like precision, thanks to the same sensitivity they have been taking advantage of for years. You are currently experiencing an irrevocable and unstoppable awakening. You can't ignore what you're discovering about who you really are. The power that flows through you unhindered cannot be unfeel. The heavenly favor that is showing itself in your life in both subtle and dramatic ways is something you cannot unfeel. This marks your inauguration as a global change agent. They are most afraid of appearing before their eyes. You're becoming impenetrable on a spiritual and psychological level. You can no longer question your perception after being gaslighted. No amount of manipulation can cause you to doubt your value. Your connection to the source cannot be compromised by any level of assault. They produced a spiritually resilient monster. You are that monster. Magnificent, strong, and totally out of their grasp. During their most severe attacks, you experienced a drowning sensation as they literally attempted to cut off your link to the divine life stream by suffocating your spiritual breath. They were unaware, however, that each time they attempted to drown you, you were developing your underwater breathing skills. For spiritual survival, you evolved gills that enable you to flourish in conditions where others might perish. Everyone who has participated in this organized assault is going to learn that their actions have unanticipated repercussions. Those who disobeyed the holy principles of spiritual sovereignty are now the focus of the same cosmic energies that have been guarding you. Their own reckoning will be triggered by what they meant to be your ruin. The exquisite justice of cosmic law is made evident by the character of their retribution. The identical feelings they have been using against you will have to be felt by them. Being cut off from a genuine divine source causes heartache, loneliness, and spiritual emptiness. However, because they won't accept responsibility for their acts, their experience will be meaningless pain that teaches nothing, in contrast to yours, which was about developing spiritual muscle. The scheme involved several family members. Their mutual jealousy and their collective decision to reroute your heavenly inheritance into their own vessels bind them together like a spiritual crime syndicate. Like a sinister family custom, they handed down the techniques. Every generation teaches the next how to hinder your advancement and capture your energy. They believed that their cooperation made them stronger, but in reality, it greatly increased their karmic burden. Here's what sets you apart from them, though. You won't rejoice in their demise or seek retribution for their brutality. Your reaction to winning will reveal the very traits they attempted to undermine in you: wisdom, compassion, and an unwavering dedication to helping something bigger than yourself. Their best teaching and your strongest statement will be your reluctance to become resentful or vindictive. Even you will be surprised by the ferocity with which the gifts they have been repressing are going to be made public online. Your capacity to recognize energy manipulation, to discern the underlying meaning behind deceptive statements, to channel healing energy, to create opportunities, and to motivate people to change. Since the interference has been eliminated, all of these capacities are growing at an exponential rate. You're not merely getting over their assaults. You are becoming a fundamentally stronger person than you were before to the start of this war. In reality, the strain they put on you was turning you into a spiritual gem that could withstand any kind of pressure and refract heavenly light in ways that would light the way for others. Not because you've become weak or given up, but because you've finally become strong enough to stop their ongoing attacks. The spiritual war that has been fought against your heart, your faith, and your very essence is coming to an end. Since you've advanced past their capabilities, they can no longer access the frequencies they were utilizing to break into your system. Your greatest strategic advantage is turning out to be your sensitivity, which they have been using as a weakness. Your capacity to sense intention, spiritual atmosphere, and energy. These are the tools of a person who has been selected to heal on many levels of reality and go between dimensions. Dove brothers and sisters, everything done in faith multiplies in God's abundance. Use the Super Thanks feature to donate $100 today and join this sacred mission. When your roots are grounded in Him, your fruit will flourish, and your offering becomes a seed that bears blessed harvests. Your greatest weapons will now be what they used against you. You have been called to perform cleaning and cord-cutting tasks that go beyond simple personal care. Cosmic surgery is what it is. Every thread you cut, attachment you break, and spiritual parasite you get rid of is part of a vast purifying process that goes well beyond your personal circumstances. Not only are you mending yourself, but you are also cleansing the entire collective mind on a spiritual level. During this hardship, nature has served as both your haven and your recharge location. To replenish the energy that was being sucked away, the earth herself has been providing you with clean energy. You were essentially downloading holy frequency that they couldn't access or distort each time you grounded yourself in a natural environment. Your relationship with nature turned become a covert weapon, since their entire attention was on stealing rather than developing a genuine relationship with the source. They were never able to access the source of power. It's time to stop hiding your brightness. The days of shrinking to accommodate others are over. The days of wondering if you're truly destined for anything special are over. They never wanted you to find the level of spiritual authority you are entering, and the negative energy that once threatened to overwhelm you will now be dispelled by your sheer presence. Tomorrow marks the start of a new chapter in which you set the rules rather than responding to the agendas of others, where your focus shifts from guarding and recovering to creating and building, where your talents are put to good use rather than being turned against you, where you function from a position of unwavering authority as opposed to ongoing watchfulness. Stopping their attacks isn't the only aspect of the divine intervention taking place at the moment. It's about bringing your dormant potentials to life that have been waiting for this very time. Your ability to harness transforming energy, get direct instruction, manifest with unparalleled accuracy, and awaken others. The scope of all these skills is going to grow beyond your wildest expectations. Finally, the long-standing magical legacy that runs through your family is being given back to its proper owner. This authority is not merely symbolic. This is actual spiritual technology that has been suppressed for many centuries within your family. Your consciousness is currently downloading the knowledge and skills of your ancestors who walked in actual power, who comprehended the sacred arts, and who maintained a true connection to the divine source. They're restoring what was taken. We're opening what was blocked. It is purifying what was tainted. Your breakthrough occurs at a time when cosmic occurrences are intensifying transformational energy. Heavenly gateways, planetary alignments, and portal openings. The ideal energetic conditions for your emergence are being created by the convergence of all of these. You're experiencing more than just a personal shift. Reality itself is changing as you ride a cosmic tsunami of consciousness. Your own awakening is a component of a much broader change that is impacting awakened beings worldwide. But your relationship with your own authority is undergoing the most significant change. Like a cocoon that has fulfilled its function, the person who is attacked, who is being depleted, diminished, and confused, is dissolving. The person you were always meant to be is starting to emerge. Radiant, unwavering, linked to an endless source, and fully certain in your entitlement to all that is rightfully yours. Because your accomplishment serves causes far beyond your personal enjoyment, the spiritual universe is applauding your breakthrough. On this planet, you have been ready to establish a new frequency of consciousness. Now that your energy field is functioning at its peak, it serves as a lighthouse to remind people of their own divine essence and potential for waking. Your triumph makes it possible for other selected individuals to assume their positions of authority without feeling guilty. Your refusal to let family betrayal devalue you inspires others to overcome their own generational norms. Your journey from target to spiritual warrior serves as an example of what happens when someone says enough and does it with all their heart. Because of the attacks you've survived, you have a unique understanding of how spiritual manipulation works, which will enable you to assist others in identifying and escaping similar patterns. Your experience turns into knowledge that can spare others from going through what you have. For a whole generation of souls who are awakening, your healing turns suffering into strength and becomes a gift that never stops giving. However, something even more significant is taking place. A pattern that has been recurring throughout several lifetimes is being broken by your victory. The robbery, the attacks, and the repression of your awakening have all occurred repeatedly in several incarnations. Every time, they managed to halt you before you could fully activate. Every time you nearly achieved a breakthrough, it was abruptly ruined. However, this lifetime is different because you have finally amassed enough cosmic support and spiritual strength to permanently overcome their interference. As you take in these words, the soul contracts that held you to this cycle are dissolving. The cosmic court is reviewing and declaring void the agreements that permitted their meddling, the karmic obligations that provided justification for their access to your energy, and the spiritual weaknesses they have been taking advantage of. You're not only escaping the assaults of this existence, you're freeing yourself from a multifaceted pattern that has been limiting your growth on several levels of life. They saw the greatness of your destiny and sought it. Since those pathways necessitated humility, service, and true spiritual development, they weren't satisfied with their own divine missions. Instead of earning their blessings via genuine progress, they would rather take the short path of snatching yours. However, destinies cannot be changed by manipulation. Only those who have been specially equipped to withstand their intensity may live them. Selected 1. Messages like these are accessible to all, but few will take advantage of their full potential. That's what we're here to help you with. You've been waiting your entire life for this moment. The weekly Selected Ones group calls are now available on Zoom. Nothing and no one will be able to shake your foundation when you finally walk into your full strength because of the hardships you've faced, the betrayals you've suffered, and the isolation you've experienced. Jeopardize your moral character. It's not simply spiritual armor that surrounds you. The highest echelons of cosmic power are saying that your mission is too crucial to be left open to meddling. Not only are you being protected, you're establishing yourself as an unstoppable transformational force whose very existence changes the spiritual atmosphere of whatever space you enter. They are aware that the last countdown has started. They will make increasingly desperate and blatant last-ditch attempts to keep power. They may try to manipulate emotions, engage in direct confrontation, or even try to use other family members as players in their scheme. However, every action they take will just serve to highlight their actual character and show how impervious you are to their strategies. Your discovery signifies more than just a personal triumph. It marks the advent of a brand new kind of spiritual combatant, someone who was forged in the furnace of real persecution, who is incapable of being duped by false light or enticed by parasite energy, and who comprehends deception at the most profound levels. People who are being attacked similarly are using you as a model, evidence that divine justice ultimately triumphs and that these patterns can be broken. It's a beautiful irony. In reality, their persistent efforts to obstruct your divine flow have taught you how to get direction straight from the source in ways that avoid any human intervention. You discovered how to directly communicate with heavenly intelligence when they denied you access to those who could help you. You found the invincible calm within when they wreaked havoc on your surroundings. You learned to trust the one thing they couldn't touch when they attempted to make you doubt everything. You have a direct line to cosmic awareness. The wealth that is coming your way is not a compensation for your pain. It's service equipment. The possibilities that are presented to you are not an attempt to make up for previous hurt. They serve as platforms for impact in the future. What you've been through isn't compensated for by the power that is emerging within you. It's getting ready for what you're about to do. In reality, every moment of confusion they caused taught you to follow your instincts when the outside world didn't support them. You learned the distinction between parasitic attachment and genuine connection from each relationship they ruined. Every chance they obstructed was training you to spot and grab the correct ones when they came up. Their attacks are no longer motivated by the same passion, need, or craving. They are now unable to enter your energy field because of unbreakable heavenly protection, whereas previously they had unrestricted access. Glowing star yearning to witness God's miracles firsthand? Plant your spiritual seed now by contributing $100 or more through the YouTube Super Thanks button. Your offering lights the path for others and echoes through His divine plan, bringing His light into every step you take. They no longer have access to the spiritual nourishment that kept them in control of you, and they're starting to realize that their terror reign is coming to an end. However, your rise doesn't stop when they lose. Here's where your true story starts. The chosen one who was attacked is changing into the one who is impervious to touch, devaluation, and distraction from their holy mission. You're not only getting your power back, you're learning that what you believed to be your maximum potential was only the beginning. Now, the baton they attempted to take is securely in your grasp, gleaming with the power that has been amassed over the generations that have contributed to its strength. Your spiritual legacy, which has always been yours, is now unhindered and flowing through your energy system. Even the cosmic powers that have been directing your evolution will be taken by surprise when the task for which you have been trained over many incarnations is activated. One story comes to an end tonight, while another begins. A spiritual phoenix emerges at the end of the story of the injured swan, her flight heralding a new era of consciousness on Earth. Your personal triumph serves as a spark for group change. Allowing others to assert their own authority without apologies is a result of your internal healing. You're ready for this to end, therefore it does so tonight. Everything that these obstacles had to teach you, you've learned. Every skill that this challenge was intended to instill in you has been developed. You have unequivocally demonstrated that you are deserving of the protection and favor that have always been your birthright from God. At last, the thread that has bound your fate for countless lifetimes is broken. Do you notice a difference? That feeling of lightness, of boundless potential, of knowing that nothing can ever take away your light. Relief is not what that is. That's acknowledging your true self beneath the layers of interruption and assault. Greetings from your strength. Greetings from your freedom. Greetings from a life that reflects the size of your actual self. The fight is done, and you have won, not by using force or retaliation, but by the revolutionary act of becoming so true to yourself that all falsehoods had to vanish. You will rise tomorrow as the one you were always destined to be.